Perfect. All right. Good evening. I get asked, I know it happened that we were at a 7-on-7 with TCC last Tuesday. I know Coach Dudley come up and asked, hey, I've seen you talk about beta before. Coach Simpson up at Warren County messaged me just asking about, hey, what is it? How's it different? So I think it's just something that maybe people are, I don't know, they log in to use it and it looks a little bit different, so they don't spend the time. My answer to everybody whenever they ask me about it, and I'm by no means some expert on it, is yeah, let's do a Zoom call. That way I can share my screen with you. It's a lot easier to kind of show you than it is to just tell you about it, because if I get to telling you about it, it'll probably scare you, because it can be tough to explain. But I will tell you that beta and what you see in beta is what you're going to be seeing going forward with Hudl. I believe we've got this upcoming year with all the features that you're used to in Classic, and beta just kind of being an option that you can use. And then I believe after this upcoming season, Hudl Classic is more than likely going to go away. There's a guy on Twitter. His name's Nate Patterson. He's a really, really good dude. I think he messaged our Brooks County football Twitter page, and I was the one running it. And he was just like, hey, is this a coach? I said, yes. All right. We're looking for people that are willing to try beta, meet with us, every once a month, tell us what you like, what you don't like. We'll let you preview some things, tell if it's any good. So I said, sure, I'll do that. That'll be cool. So like I was kind of in it, doing it, I guess, before everybody started seeing it. That's the only way that I know anything about it. But I will say that it's a really, really good product. I think it's really, really effective in kind of helping take your weekend. It can definitely lighten your workload. So the questions I wanted to kind of let guide what we were talking about tonight, and I'll present this screen. Let's see, let's go here. Let's see. Does everybody see Hudl on this? Like I'm trying to share my screen. You do?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I didn't know kind of what it was showing, but I know like if you log into Hudl, more than likely it looks like this right here. This is kind of what we're all used to. I've had people, whenever we did our clinic at Brooks County and I was talking about it, I had people that were willing to stand and argue with me that they didn't have beta, that their package didn't include it. We literally went around the corner to a computer lab. We got them to log on. If you click right here, then you're going to see it. What is this? Oh, no. Okay. That's Hudl asking me a question. Whenever you go to it, you'll notice everything's a little bit sleeker. It looks a little bit different. If you're just a pure classic dude, it can be a little off-putting. But once you work through it, I think it is a little bit better product. So over here on the left, and I know Josh covered this in the video that he did, this is just what Brooks County, or this is what Hudl has as your upcoming season. If you can click on it, then you have film on these people. And it may be like this right here is from last year. So we play Mitchell in week 4, 5. And we have what we have on them from last year. As we add stuff this year, that'll pop up. Same thing with Bainbridge from 2 years ago. So if you have tape on somebody, it'll be here. And then if you go down to some teams you've played in the past, everybody you played last year will be under past teams. Okay. And it's just like Classic. And I'll go to Washington Wilkes. They were a really good offense. When you click on them, it's the same thing. It's going to be playlists that you've created. You can do your game footage. We've obviously got games on them from 2015, 2021, and 2022, or your opponent scout. And you can see we've made a good handful of cut-ups. But this is very, very similar to Classic. Nothing really different here. I'm going to jump through and I'm going to go to this Washington Wilkes offense. Click it. I'm going to hit play. Just like in the old Hudl, I could click multiple playlists, but for the sake of what we're doing here, I'm just going to click Washington Wilkes offense. Now, what this is the combination of all, let's see, we played them in the second round. So we had a first round game, and then I think we tried to get the previous 2 games. And then they had another competitive game. It might have been versus Elbert, where they were pretty close. The rest of their games were a lot of blowouts. So we had, I think, 4, maybe 5 ball games on them. I went through on each one. I charted, and many of you are already doing this. This is not rocket science. Chart the whole game out, tag all the information that I want, eliminate all the plays that were not actual plays, false starts, end of quarter, timeout. I remove them, and then I combine that all into one playlist so that I can look at my tendencies and breakdowns a little closer. That's what this is. This is Washington Wilkes offense. Whenever I click play, I'm not going to do that right now. This is what you're going to come up with. Okay. And it's going to be just, it looks like a darker version of what you've already seen. You've got your video down here. You've got your columns that you're used to. Obviously, your columns can be a little bit different based off what you're doing. And then if you want to just watch the film, you can click watch. Okay. This is where maybe you've got your Hudl remote or some sort of remote, and you're just clicking through. You're just watching tape, not looking at anything. It will give you the ribbon up top, and it'll tell you what you're looking at. This is just for watching. If you move over to analyze, okay, and this is going to bring up all of my tendencies, but I can hit this drop-down menu. I can look at tendencies on the left of the video. I can look at tendencies on the right of the video, or I can full screen it. Okay. Now, this is where beta is different than classic. Okay. Because Hudl Classic would give you your video, and then it would give you all your inputs down at the bottom. Well, what this has actually done has taken all that information and it's put it into a very, very easy to look at place. Okay. And you can actually have it up. You can filter clips while the tape is rolling. Okay, so now obviously if this were just a regular game film, and I'll run back through one of those before I finish up. If this was a regular game film, I would have O, D, and K. But because this is a playlist of nothing but clips that have been labeled as O, obviously it's all going to be O. Now, it's got all of my downs broken down. Okay, 125 first downs, 66 second downs, 39 third downs, 9 fourth downs. And I think that adds up to 249. So pretty much almost every play has a down on it. We all know that these things are not always perfect, miss a clip here or there. It has all of my distances right here. It has all of my field zones, where the football was actually at. It's got all the hashes. I don't chart the quarter. I like to chart the first 4 series so I can see if they do anything special at the start of a game. But after that, I'm not overly concerned with the quarter. You may be. If you are, it's going to pop up here. Again, you'll see I chart the first 4 series. The score, I don't chart the score. And then 2 minute, I don't chart 2 minute. Okay, so these first ones right here are labeled as situations. Okay, these are situational. As I move on down into tendency. Okay, and again, all this is up while the film is playing. It's instantly going to give me their run pass. Like I said, this is where beta is a little bit different than classic, because in classic, I would have to run a report to know this, or I would have to hover over play type. And remember, you could hit play type, and then there's like the little icon that looks like a graph or something, and it would give you percentages if you did that. Beta puts it up right here for you. Okay, so I can see that Washington Wilkes, in the 253 meaningful plays that we deem to be necessary for our breakdown, 63% run, 37% pass. That's on the board right now. When we're in our staff meeting, we put that up there. This is who they are: 63% run, 37% pass. the next thing you're going to see is their formations, along with what percentage of the time they're being ran. Okay, now it's going to give you their top 3. You can hit view all, and it'll give you everything. Okay. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it gives you every formation that you have charted. You come down, same thing with plays, and the defensive guys in this chat are probably going to blow their top because they don't really have a favorite play. They kind of dip their toe in everything. But when you got athletes like they do, they played a lot of games from well ahead of people. You just try stuff, you just work on things, but it'll put their plays right now in order by the percentage and the frequency in which they're ran. Go back up, keep looking through these tendencies that it's going to give us. Play strength is a custom column that I use. All I do is, perfect example, looking at the clip that's being ran. For us, this is strong right. I mean, defensively, it's strong left, but I label it strong right because I look at it from the quarterback's back. This is strong right. If this ball goes to the right, if it goes to the strength, I label that as a strong play. And what I want to do there, just know if you give me an H-back, does he take me to the football? Okay. And a good team should be about 60-40. These guys were good because they could hit you with the sweep strong. They could hit you with power, but they could also run counter. Okay. But we found teams before who they were a weak side team in a certain formation. If you probably charted our offense from a year ago, we were probably a weak side team because we ran so much counter. But again, if you chart it, it will show up here as a tendency. Okay. The ball, I've got a custom column labeled ball, and I literally put what number jersey gets the football. I've talked about this before. I know I talked about it at our clinic. I talked about it with Coach Freeman up in Athens. Our kids get geeked up if they know who they have to stop. We don't have a bunch of Rhodes Scholars. They're not dumb kids, but if we throw 15 formations at them and a bunch of different plays and personnels, they're going to look at us funky. But if I say, hey, man, look, number 1, 4, and 11, they make up 72% of the offense. Or better yet, if I throw 7 in there, we've got 84% of them. Now just find the guy, like I remember 11 and 7 are receivers. Now you just punk your DBs out all week. 11 and 7 going to get the rock. There's nothing you can do about it. 1 was the quarterback. Okay, that's helpful to know as an offense or as a defensive coordinator. 31, almost a third of their offense is going through the trigger man, whether it be, or better yet, this is all pretty much run game. He can't, if he throws the ball to number 11, I'm going to chart that as an 11 getting the ball. So 1 is the load carrier for them, and that shows up just right here on the tendency side of the video. I also have a column, a custom column where I've put hash and then I put a period and I chart whether the ball goes to the home side or the away side. That's for us guys that have to defend the wing T a lot. You'll find that sometimes you can just get in 2s and 4s and you can slant to the opposing team sideline and run into the play pretty often. These guys were home side oriented. Okay, I don't know if the play caller called it from the grass and he just felt more comfortable doing that or if he was up top. But again, it shows it right here for me. Formation into the boundary. The way that I do this, and I'll run back through this in a minute, is I can cross-reference formation into the boundary by play direction, and I can immediately know if formation into the boundary takes me to the football. My formation tags are over here. The RPO, I label it RPO, and then I put whether it was they actually ran it, they passed it, and these guys tried to run a little bit of veer option. And then this was something I kind of played with. Where on the field is the football going? The perimeter. Are they working to get the ball outside the hash in the quick game? Is it an inside run? Is it a shot play? Or is it quick right now going hitches, something like that? Play direction will pop up. Okay, left, right. Personnel will pop up. It'll tell you what side they favor on the offensive strength, and then it will tell you a field and boundary tendency. Okay, again, that is one of the biggest deals whenever it comes to beta is your tendencies. that if you're anything like me, you had to tag all of your film. You had to tag everything, and then you had to go back and dig through it and run the reports, do the hit charts, and figure out what you wanted to get from the information that you had tagged. With beta, you get to skip that report step. Okay, so I'll run back up here and show you, because all of these tendencies are live, which means they're clickable. You can interact with them. So if I want all of their first down plays, I'm clicking first down. That's added right now as a filter up top that you'll see. Now, every play is went from 253 plays to 125 plays. All of these are first down. So not only does the set list of clips that are going to be shown, not only does it change, so do all the tendencies. Okay. So as we come down, and we'll just see how this kind of changes in real time. Whenever you go downs 1 through 4 with these guys, they were 63% pass or 63% run, and flex trips doubles are their favorite formations. We can look and see if any of that changes by first down, because now, along with changing the set list and the clips that are being shown, all of the tendencies that go with that are going to change. Now they've went 65% run. Not a statistical difference, but it is a difference. You see their formations have changed a little bit. Or no, they have not changed. The percentages have just changed a little bit. It's going to change. Buck sweep was not their favorite play earlier when we had downs 1 through 4. But now that we're just in first down, we can see, and any defensive coach right now is saying they are trying to get the ball on the edge on first down. They are fast. They are trying to outrun you right now, because buck sweep, outside zone, and quarterback sweep, although they don't make up a huge number, 13%, 10, and 10, that's only 33%. It does change, because if I come back up here and I get off of first down, their plays, now counter was their favorite play. Counter gets bumped out on first down. You, I guess, have to decide as a defensive play caller and game planner if you deem that to be statistically, worth your time or not. But beta will do the hard work for you and eliminate that. Again, strong and weak changes a little bit. The ball changes. 4 is the tailback. Okay. He's getting it more than a third of the time on first downs. That means they want to start out running the football. They want to hand it off. The hash, the home and away doesn't change a lot. They get into that back upset. All that for me was whenever they got in doubles. If they took the running back and put him up in a sniffer alignment. No left, right, personnel, strength. Okay. And just by showing you that, I think your wheels can kind of spin, and you can see the way you can work with all of these filters. So another one that everybody wants to know is, what is second and medium? Okay. So I'm going to click second down. So now I have all the second down plays, and they didn't run a ton of them. They had 66. Let's just go 4. Oh, don't do that. All right, hang on. That's a mechanical error. We are only as good as our machines. Second down. Let's see if this will work again.
While you're pulling that up, Coach Gazar made a great comment in the chat. He said that one of the tendencies he likes to look for in a column that he's created is I can read it so I don't get it wrong here. Beginning series and end series. He said this helps them to see what they like to do after a punt or a timeout.
Like a possession starter, like
yeah.
10.
Sort of like a possession starter, but then also, after you do your P 10, but maybe after a timeout, what do they do after you call timeout or vice versa?
And you could, you can play around with custom columns by all means. But the big thing is you could chart anything that you want. And I think we're all like, this isn't a absolute, I've never logged into Hudl, type conversation, but anything that you put in here, Hudl will do the work and tell you if it's any good or not. Does that make sense? Like, and I'll show something from our Irwin game that I like. We did the first series for them and found out that their run pass tendency changed significantly. Like, they were an 88% run team, but it was down in the 60% on the first series, and that allowed us all week to just drill into our kids, hey, the first possession of the ball game, they're putting the ball in the air, and they run their little waggle play. We had zoomed in or zoned in on what set they were going to run it out of. We run right into it and get a PBU. So that's just like what you're talking about. If you deem it significant and you feel like it's a nook and cranny that you can steal a couple of yards, you can get a negative play because they've shown a tendency, Beta will tell on them in a heartbeat. I mean, in a heartbeat. So, and it looks like this is back up. Now, I've went second down. I've clicked it. When you click on something, if it turns blue, then you can click on it. When you click second down, that's all the down plays. Now you go to distance. Notice down here is the distance. Up here is the frequency. So they had 7 plays of second down and 4. Don't let that confuse you too much. But I went 4, 5, and 6. So right now, all of these clips are second and medium. Okay, I don't have to run a report. I literally clicked 4 things. Second down, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to scroll. Look at the run tendency. It goes up by almost, I think off of their normal, it goes up 11%. Okay. And again, you're the one that gets paid the money to figure out whether or not you want to game plan for that, make a call into it, what you want to do with it. But instantly, Beta's giving me the information, 74% run. Okay. The formation, they've added pro twins. Okay. Earlier, it was like flex, trips, doubles. Now they've put a tight end in the football game. Okay. And they've done it like significantly. Okay. I'm talking 26, 26, 70. Okay. So I've got 70% of their formations. I've got their plays right here. Okay. And their top, what they did. I can come down and get out. They didn't run any of these on this situation. I can get their formation. I can get who's getting the football. Okay. Second down and medium, the ball is going to 4, 1, and 7. And 74% of it is going to go to 1 and 4. All right. That's a key. That's a trigger for us. Okay. Continuing just to go down. And again, I'm not trying to treat anybody like they're absolutely brand new to coaching football. But one thing that I like about Beta is if you like this filter, okay, and Josh, if you'll help me out, because all I see is what you see as far as Hudl. I keep seeing this kid run buck sweep. If somebody puts a question or something, please, let me know. I don't want anybody thinking I'm being a dick by not, because I just can't see it. What you can do, so every time you click something, it adds it as a filter up here. If you like this filter, like Coach Mo at Kennesaw Mountain is going to want to know second and medium, no matter who he's playing. He comes right here. He can hit save, which I've already got it saved. He can hit save. It's going to ask him what name he wants to call it. He can put second and medium, whatever. And then it's up there forever. So as soon as he turns on a tape, he can pull up second and medium. Okay. So I'm going to get off of this. I'm going to clear these out. No filters, 253 plays. I'll show you my filters as I look for explosives. For us, explosives are any play of 12 or more yards. And the way that I do that is to come over here to outcomes. Where are they? Gain loss. I'm going to click on this. Now, I'm going to come up. It starts at 0. I come right here. They've got 41 plays of 12 or more. Okay, and again, I scroll down here to my tendencies. Or I'm sorry, to my outcomes. I apologize, my outcomes. I see the number line. They have 27 clips that gain no yards. 9 clips that lost 5 or more. I can scroll right through here. For us, we like to know what are their big plays. Are they big plays because they know exactly how to block this? They know exactly how to run it. Are they busted coverages? but we want to know what's getting them. I've already got that saved. I'll come up here to filters. I'm going to hit explosives. And now I can run through and I can watch this. This is a sick little play right here. I think they go tunnel back up top. Oh, man, you got to have a kid that can throw it. We're just going to take a moment and watch this. I'm glad we don't have to play them again.
They definitely had a kid that can throw.
This right here, flip it on a rope, and now it's just freaking track season. Didn't tackle him. They didn't tackle him on that. I don't know why this is messed up. But he gets up and keeps running. Oh, man, they cut that short. There must be another. We must have a different copy of it. But anyway, this is their explosives. We can go up here with the tendencies. We can see what's their big plays. This is scary, okay? Remember, they were 63% run. They are explosive 50-50 when it's run pass, so you got to kind of pick a poison. These are their big-time formations, their big-time plays, okay? One screen, which to us is just a screen out to number one. Some call it quick, rocket, whatever. One screen doesn't show up as a top 3 play for them as far as frequency. But now that I've filtered it out to explosives, it comes up as one of their bigger plays. Okay, it comes up as something that they are obviously pretty good at. This is obviously something that we are going to pay attention to. Okay, again, using that explosive column and not just falling in love with what are their top plays. Let's look at what they used and what they ran to get big-time yardage. We worked this screen all week long. All week long we worked it. Again, I've got the explosives filter. If I click on something, it removes every play except what I've got clicked. So all this will show is these quarterback sweeps. Man, that kid could play. Again, I can come up here. I can clear out these filters. Another one we're going to look at is third and medium. I've already saved these. I showed you how to save it. All you got to do is filter out what you want. Come up here to filters and then hit save. Third and medium. What do they do on third and medium? 4, 5, and 6. Flex becomes a favorite formation of theirs. They get 50-50 run pass. That's a little scary. Again, they like the screen. Got to watch the boot. No weak, strong tendency. The ball is going to number 1. Remember that change when we were on first down. And I don't want anybody to think that we're some football savant and we have some answer for all the things that Beta can give us. We don't. We're going to play what we play. But it's really convenient to be able to go through this quickly and see if there is some sort of statistical significance to what is being shown. So we're going to clear these filters out. I'll show you 1 or 2 more things. Remember, with Classic, you would have to run reports. And you would do, I want to go formation by run pass. Okay. And then it would give you that 9-page report, all the way down to the formation that they ran one time. With this, when you're scrolling down over here on your analyze side, you can go right here to report. I'm in formations. I'm going to go report, click on it. It'll give you an overview, and this is actually printable. Okay, again, it's going to be pretty long because it's going to give you everything, but some guys like having everything out there. Okay, but let's say I just want to know the run pass. I'm going to click run pass. Here you go. Okay, in flex, they are 72% run. Now we're getting underneath the fingernails a little bit. Now when they give me 20 personnel, I'm thinking run. Okay, the frequency show 88 times out of 253, so that's roughly a third, and then 70% of those have been runs. Now, the other thing that I like that Beta does, it'll tell you the frequency. It'll also tell you the average. Okay, so Washington Wilkes, who presented a pile of headaches, we could key up on this run if we wanted to. They still had the ability to move the chains in the air. It wasn't like some teams you're going to see that, I don't know, they don't have a good quarterback, so the pass isn't a threat. Maybe they don't have a good tailback, so they're 5 wide. These guys could do it all the way. Okay, and again, if it's clickable, you can have it. If I click that right now, I'm going to get all the flex run plays. Okay, super, super interactive, super, super easy to use. Click this plus sign, it'll go down with trips. When they got in trips, 45, 55, there's no run pass, really tendency there. Doubles, okay, 70% pass when they're in double twins. All right, I'm not going to go through each one of these. I think you guys kind of get it. Okay, but again, just to show you how I got to this is over here where my tendencies are. I'm going formation. I'm opening my reports. Sorry, I didn't unclick flex. My bad. I unclick trips. Do I have a filter on? I might have one. Okay, no. Whenever it's going to give you an overview, I wanted to just know run pass by formation. Done. I click it. It gives it to me. Okay. Maybe you want to know run formation, again, by play strength. Okay. So what this means is in flex, they are going strong. They're going to this H-back down here who just got his guts jumped into. They are going to that guy 59% of the time. All that tells me immediately they can run power and they can run counter. They're not one-sided. The H-back is not some tell-all. He's not some real, key. We'll still call our strength to him most of the time, but we really got to read it out. We can't cheat anything based off of what the statistics have told us. In trips, if they get in 3-by-1 and the ball goes to the 3-man surface, I label that play as a strong play. Okay, so 64% of the time, the ball's going into the trips. Now, for us, because we play split 44, we've got 2 overhangs. I think they're 2 of the best athletes on the team. I might take my better guy and say, hey, look, in trips, you go to the 3-man side. Okay, we don't always do that, but at 64-31 and the other 4% that's kind of out there in no man's land was probably quarterback draw. Okay, this kid will high shoulder it and take off. Can't really tell. Where they ran a little inside zone type thing. But nonetheless, given this information, I would move a guy to the trips and just play the numbers and say, I'm going to put a better guy over there. Doubles, I put the strength if it goes to the side of the running back because kind of, sort of, that's a 3-man side. Pro twins, I'm going to do it by the tight end. This is a tendency. Here's something you can bust right on the chin right now. In pro twins, I know for me, I'm going to label it strong if the ball goes to the tight end. But in pro twins for these guys, 2/3 of the time, the ball's going weak. So they're going back to the twin side. All right, I can use that. You can use that. And however, whatever, no matter what system you run, you can use that if I told you, hey, look, if they give you a pro twins look, 2/3 of the time, that ball's going away from the tight end. Okay, or maybe you're a guy that would label that twin side to be the strength. Now you know it's going to the other side. Okay, these are little things that you would not have time, or it would have taken valuable time away from you and your family to dig through this and find this in a report in Hudl Classic. Hudl Beta does it right now. Okay, pro trips, one of the worst formations in football, tight end, fullback, and twins all on the same side. You burn the tight end as ineligible, or you put him as a backside tackle. If you ever play us, don't run it. We're really, really good at lining up to it. But they went to the tight end 100% of the time. And then you start getting down into things they've not ran a lot. And again, you get to decide if that's relevant to you. But these are things that can help you, that are very easy to get to. Formation by ball is one. Okay, I've went formation. I'm reporting on the ball and flex. Their guy is number 4. He is the tailback. Almost 50% of the offense in flex is going between or to number 4. I can bump that up to 67%. between 1 and 4. So what do my inside backers need to be looking at? Who do we need to find? Who's probably getting the football when they give us a flex look? 1 and 4. Okay. And again, this came up instantly. I don't have mounds of paperwork. I don't have a PDF. I don't have a hit chart, and there's nothing wrong with doing all of those things. They're much better coaches than I am who do that. But I know that I made 2 clicks and I've got all this information. Okay. You may want to go formation. Here's one. You want to go formation, obviously, by play. Plays. Boom, right there. In flex, what are their favorite plays? Boom. It comes up right now. I keep saying boom like I'm Gus Malzahn. That's not something I always do. Okay, but in flex, it's giving me every play that they've ran. Now it's up to me, as a game planner, as I make practice scripts, as I make scout team folders to figure out what I think is important. But what I didn't have to do is go through, run a report, and then comb through all of it like it's just right here. Okay. And it'll do that for anything that you want. Maybe you want to look, let's get off of formation for just a second. Let's go down to plays. Let's see if there's a certain way. Maybe they go, let's go plays by play direction. I don't know. We're just getting cute now. And you'll see this is a good play caller because everything is within 50 and 40. Okay, nothing really there. That like outside zone to the left, I guess would be one. I'll tell you another one that Coach Freeman really, really loves throughout the course of a game is the personnel. So I'm going to slide down here to, where is it? Personnel. Right here. And we use just the classic numbering system. Let's go personnel by run pass. And the overview report will give it all to you right now. Personnel by run pass. Here we go. 10 personnel, 60-40. 20 personnel, 72 run. 21. Okay. And now this is pretty significant because this is 20% of the time. 52. That makes 260. So yeah, right there at 20% of the time when they're in 21 personnel, or they are in 21 personnel, 20% of the time. Run is the game. Man, send the dogs. If they give you 21, bust their chin open. Make them beat you with something that they've not shown they're any good at. 32 is a heavy. So here, again, these guys are good play callers. They're balanced. Maybe you want to go personnel by play strength. This is always one Coach Freeman wants in his ear. Okay, so right here in 10, I'm not saying anything. I'm saying play ball. We don't have to have a special call for 10 personnel. There's not a real strong weak tendency. 20, there's not a strong weak. 21, there's not a strong weak. Okay, the only time they got a real tendency in their personnel sets was when they got into 11. They went to the tight end. Sorry, I clicked that mistakenly. They went to the tight end's alignment 80-something% of the time they were in it. Okay, and again, beta allows you to take endless combinations of numbers and look at them right now and decide if you want them or not run the reports and then look through it. So something I've said in one of the things that, I spoke on was like in the past, it felt like on Saturday night or early Sunday morning when I got done tagging my game, I wasn't quite done. Now, whenever I'm done tagging, I feel like I'm done. I'm just a few clicks away from the information that we need as a staff to put together a game plan. Okay. Something else I'll show you on this analyze. If you click this drop down, you can look at this stuff full screen. Like you can go IBM super nerd. And we do this in our staff meeting. And Coach Freeman's been coaching for 35 years. He's old school as it gets, but we spend time on this every Sunday. We look up here and I have to present what we found and what is up here. Just statistically speaking, you can go through. This is where you're going to go to make a call sheet. If you're one of those kind of guys, this is where you're going to go as you make your scout team folder. Okay. Because everything is up here right now. Everything that I want to know. Okay. Now, whenever Josh gets rolling on some of the ways that he uses this, and him and I are both in the same situation. He worked under a guy last year that was kind of ingrained in stone, going to do what he's going to do. But Josh could bring in and really show some numbers and some tendencies. I do the same thing for Coach Freeman. We're very fortunate that the people above us are very, very receptive to this kind of stuff. So I don't know, kind of where you fall on that. You may have, I don't know, the guy you work for, maybe we're going to do it pen and paper every time. But I know that we would always have to present on this in our staff meetings because there's no defensive tendencies in this column or in this playlist. They're not going to show up. But again, everything you want is just right here. The last thing, and I'm going to encourage you to play with this kind of on your own, is they've added this collaborate feature. I know somebody like Coach Mo at Kennesaw would use something like this because you do so much, on the weekends. If you go to collaborate, you can put at, and then it will bring up everybody on your roster. So if I wanted to send something to Kamari Blankumsey, I could click this right here. I could say, use Hudl Beta, and I could send it. And as soon as he logs in, he's going to be prompted to go to this clip, and it's going to show up, and it's going to say, use Hudl Beta. Okay, that's a cool tool. Admittedly, I don't use it. We don't use it because our kids kind of watch what we tell them to watch. We don't ask them to do a whole bunch of breakdowns. So this is a great tool. It's not one that I really use, but for some of you, it may be a lifesaver. I'm trying to think what else. Josh, help me out. We've talked about this stuff before. Guys that are in here watching, hit me with a question or two. And then, we'll turn it over to how Josh uses it on offense. But again, it was just, I've had multiple people ask. I don't want to be a jerk and try to halfway explain it. It's just easier to be able to show a computer screen and you guys see that.
So yeah, so if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box for Coach Evans. I know, let me see who it was here. I think it was Coach Davis said, this really sucks for us offensive coaches because you guys are really breaking everything down, and it made the defensive job a little bit easier. But not to worry, Coach. I think I can help you out a little bit. I'm not going to say I'm going to help you out a ton, but maybe Hudl Beta was designed by some defensive coaches.
I've said before, multiple times, I keep calling Coach Mo out. He's just my friend. It's a defensive product, in my opinion. Now,
yeah,
Josh can take it. And again, maybe it's not a defensive product. It's just we have to account for so many more variables, because there are so many things that you offensive guys can do.
Well,
so we have to chart everything that we see versus y'all are the ones that snap the ball. You know what you want to do. But now when Josh gets going in about being able to click trips and bring up a blitz tendency and not just say they're going to blitz 61% of the time, but then being able to narrow that down to they're going to give you an A and B twist type game. Yeah. That's going to allow offensive guys to make calls into what defensive guys have shown.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? So
I think another thing that we got out of Hudl Beta, working together with it this past season with me not being in that offensive coordinator role and us kind of both taking on special teams. I think we got a ton out of it special teams wise, and that may be, maybe we do another one of these just for special teams.
Sure. Yeah. I know we would go through and we would always, and we're in single A. Not every single A program has somebody that can kick the ball down the field. So we would get multiple types of kickoffs, and we would always chart where the ball lands. Me and Josh are bastardizing some kickoff returns just so we can possess the football. We're not even scheming a return, just possess it. Don't touch it and let the other team touch it. And we went through and charted where the kickoff lands every time. And then we click kickoff land, we go to that value, and boom, we would know the averages say it's going to land on the 25. Okay, so most definitely a special teams tool. But I do think it is very, very beneficial for defensive coaches. I think offensive coaches, there's a pile of advantage for you too. The fun one would be trying to chart a guy that is a defensive play caller that's very much in tune with just that Friday, and he's doing something for specific reasons, versus offensive guys tend to have that, bread and butter is a term. Defensive guys, we don't have as many bread and butters as you do. We use this mad scientist stuff and do what we want to do.
Absolutely. All right. Does anybody have any questions for Coach Evans before he signs off? He's got a 3-year-old, my little nephew, that he's going to have to put to bed here in a minute.
I wanted to see really quick. I wanted to show this, and then I will slide out because I'm going to do bedtime. Remember, when you come up here, your options are watch, which is just watching the tape. And you can hit this as your default view, and that'll be the first thing that come up. Analyze. Analyze is going to give you tendencies. Then you use this arrow to figure out where you want those tendencies. Breakdown is where you actually input the film. Okay. And okay, this is what I wanted to show you. If you come right here and you go to my columns, and you can hit new sets, and we had that in Hudl Classic, but you can go to new and you can just pick what it is that you want. Okay, click it, check box it. It's going to add it into this column, and then drag it around and put it in order. Okay, so these are some of the things that Beta was 2 or 3 steps behind. I would have my columns the way that I would want it, but then I'd have to go back into Classic to change them. They've caught up a lot. I guess guys like myself and others have told them, like, hey, this is good, this is bad. So this is super easy to use, and then it's done. I've got my defensive breakdown right here. If I ever want to edit it, I can come up here, and like there's that kickoff land that we had. If, sometimes if we're playing Irwin, we're not going to chart the pass zone. Okay. And the pass zone, if you put it in by number, the field broken into a quadrant, it'll chart that for you. Anything that's over here that you've put in as your columns, you'll have it. If you want to go custom, this is all your custom columns. If you hit manage field, it'll take you straight to here where you can add in a new breakdown. Okay, and I'm a big believer in custom columns. The other thing that I would encourage you to do, and I'm really just saying this for, the video. I know it's being recorded so that when people ask, we can just say, hey, go here. Make sure as you see what it is that Beta is able to do, really take advantage of your formation tag column. You will start to water down some of the data if you do. Well, and you can see it however you want, but if you get into, pro right, trips left, those kind of things, just know if you do that, it's going to treat trips left and trips right as 2 totally different values, when you could formation tag it. All right. But that's totally up to you. It's obviously no bother to me. Just understand Beta and Hudl just work like Excel. It's going to go off what it is that you put in there as a value. And I know I had a formation into the boundary, then I'll be done. I'll show you how I did that. So I did formation into the boundary, knowing that I would come up here and I would report it by play direction. So, and I did this for motion too. Right here, if formation into the boundary was left, the ball went to the left, to that FIB 73% of the time. If it was formation into the boundary and I labeled it as right, the ball went to the right 70% of the time. There's my tendency. 70% of the time, if they give you formation into the boundary, the ball is going over there. They are condensing you down. It's the same way that I do motion, because motion's kind of a tough one, how you want to chart it so that it can be easily digested. So I'm going to come back up here to motion. Where was it? Okay, right and left is all I labeled as if the motion was right or left. Again, I'm going to cross-reference that simply with play direction. If I didn't miss it already. All right, here we go. When they went motion left, the ball went left 92% of the time. When they went motion right, the ball went to the right 89% of the time. There's a tendency. We're going to crash to motion. Okay, motion's going to take us to the football. If you get motion, expect the football. Whatever it is, you would tell your kids with that. So, and everybody's charting play direction, so that's nothing really new. But again, I went to motion. I'd labeled it R and L, just depending on which way it went. And then I reported it crossed over to play direction to tell me if motion takes me to the football or not. And then with that, Josh, I think I'll be done. If nobody else has anything, if everybody else is going to put their kid to bed, text me. You can DM me, whatever you want to do, and we'll be good to go. And otherwise, and Josh, are you going to take care of where are we going to put it? Coach Tube for free?
What I'm doing right now is I've got a YouTube channel. That was the easiest thing for me to get set up and uploaded in a timely manner. We're going to roll with that for right now. It's Coach_Josh_Mac. Once I get it uploaded, check Twitter for both mine and Coach Evans' pages. We'll have it up there with a link to the YouTube video. And but yeah, I think this was very, very useful. If you guys don't have anything else for Coach Evans, Coach, I appreciate your time. I'm going to talk a few minutes about offense, and we'll get you guys out of here.
Perfect. All right, dude. See y'all later.
Thanks, bro. All right. That was good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and present my screen. Let's see. Here we go. All right. Looks like it came through. Hopefully that's clear enough where everyone can see and read everything. Again, just like Coach Evans said earlier, here's your games that are coming up or that you've had in this past season. These are your games coming up, past opponents and everything. What I'm going to do today, I'm going to look at Irwin County and talk about how we kind of broke down their defense using Hudl Beta in preparation for the state championship game. So if you look over here, we're in the same region as Irwin, so we had a lot of their region games. But what I wanted to look at in offensive game planning was when we played them in the regular season, and then I wanted to look at their previous two playoff rounds. And so what I did was I selected those games over here, and then if you go, I put out a precursor video the other day. It's on my YouTube page. You can kind of watch the steps that we're taking and breaking that down. But I created a playlist with just the offensive formations that I use versus their defense, only varsity reps. And I got rid of all of those plays that may have been false starts, end of a quarter, anything like that really was a waste of a clip because I can't use it. So now I have just their varsity versus my formations. I'm going to pause this video because it's just going to keep looping and get on my nerves. So like Coach Evans said, everything over here, we've got just defense. You've got all the breakdown. If it turns blue, you click on it, obviously. But what I like to look at in game planning is the first tendency that I look for is what's their favorite fronts and what are their fronts versus my formations. So rather than having to print off 2 or 3 pages worth of a report or whatever, I'm just going to come right over here and I'll click. So my formations are doubles, trips, flex. We did some 2 tight end with twins. We did pro twins, a regular 2 tight end set, and pro. And so we mainly both based out of 10 personnel. So if I wanted to do that, to look at those numbers, I can just click these two. All right, and just like Coach Evans said, I have everything that they've done against those two formations. Let's see. And if I want to look at my reports, I'll scroll down over here to my defensive tendencies. Okay, and then it's got the percentages right now just for those formations. All right, and if I wanted to deselect, and let's see if there's any tendency shifts and what their defensive fronts do versus different formations. My computer's a little slow. You have to bear with me some. All right, I'll come right here. I can click reports. It'll open up. There we go. All right, and so I get a breakdown of each of their defensive fronts, what do they like to do coverage-wise. We'll get into some blitz stuff in just a moment, but what I want to do right now is just look at offensive formation and defensive fronts. What do they like to do against my formations? How are they going to line up? And what that's going to do is that helps me see all right there in one easy-to-read area. What do I have in the run game? You know, are they giving me 4-0-4? Are they putting fives out on the field a lot? What formations do they like to do that against? And all that. So I got all of my numbers here, and it goes by for each one, just like that. So I'm trying not to repeat too much of what Coach Evans has already said in the breakdown. So there we go. So I know trips 67% of the time I'm gonna have 4-0-4. To me, that means they're in a 3-4. If they were in a 3-3 stack, we just labeled it as a 3-3 because we treat that a whole different way from besides a 3-4. So I know if I'm in trips, I'm going to get a 3-4 look. So I can kind of dictate what the box is going to look at or look like versus my formations. All right. And I'll click off of this. I want to go ahead and I'm going to shift down. We'll talk a little bit about coverages. Again, same thing. I can pull a report and look at the coverage versus my offensive formation. And then one of the things that I like to look at is blitzes. I have my offensive assistants. I have those guys go in and put the covers that they're using, the defensive front, offensive formation, all of those things. But what I like to do, I go in and I put in the blitz information because I want to see who's coming, where are they coming from, what do they like to do? And by looking at that, I can really see what the defensive coordinator, who this guy is, what he likes to do. So I'll scroll down here. So what I've got for columns for blitzes, I've created 4 columns. And the first column is blitz, yes or no. Do they blitz? Do they send some type of pressure? So I'm just going to go in, hit a Y or in. All right. And that obviously will tell me how often they like to send pressure. All right. Well, if I look over here on the right, I might have some formations connected. Selected. Here we go. I'm going to deselect everything. And it's going to show me over here on the right that, okay, they like to blitz 65% of the time. So they like to send pressure. Well, then when I start looking into their defensive front, well, what do they like to blitz out of? If they're in a 3-3 stack, for instance, I'll click on that. Let's see what this blitz percentage does. All right, it's just a little bit, 63%, not much. Okay, so I can deselect that. Then, but I can go by their defensive front. I can go by my formation. Like I had trips selected a moment ago, and I think it was 70-something% that they like to send pressure. Let's see. I'll scroll up again, select trips. Evans is calling my phone. I'll call back. All right, so when I look at that, then I see, okay, 86% of the time, if I'm in trips, they're going to send some sort of pressure. All right, so I'll know when I line up in trips, there's going to be pressure coming from somewhere. All right, well, the next thing I like to do after saying, do they send pressure, yes or no, I'm going to see position and gap. All right, so for instance, when I'm looking at him, they like to send Jack fire. Fire for us just means that you got him coming off the edge. Let's see. Evans just texted and said, answer the phone. This is beta related. Let me call him back, see what he's got.
Yo,
Hey, you know you could have just got back in the meeting.
I put my computer up. Like I was out here and I put it inside. Make sure that you mention on there anything that somebody does in classic will automatically be pulled over to beta. I knew I was going to forget something. But like even if you go through like this whole year, I charted and inputted everything in Hudl Classic. It'll pull it over to beta for you.
Right.
And then the same thing when if you make a playlist in classic, you can still look at all the tendencies through beta. Just make sure that you mention that somewhere in there.
All right, we'll do.
Appreciate you.
All right, man.
All right.
All right. So yeah, as you heard Coach Evans say, anything that you use in Hudl Beta, in old Hudl will transition over to Hudl Beta. It's all the same film, same data, database and everything. So, all right. So yeah, looking at their blitzes, I look at one, do they blitz? Two, blitz position, what gap he's going to. First few here, as you see, I got Jack fire, will fire. All right, and that's just however you label your guys. I know Coach Freeman, he labels our linebackers 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's just easier for him. What is this? All right. Move on to the next one. So I'm gonna scroll over here to the right. Oh, I know another thing that I was going to mention here. So when you create custom columns, they're initially going to be placed into ungrouped stats, as I have over here on the right. Okay. When you want that to become a part of, your defensive tendencies or offensive tendencies, wherever you want it to be grouped, all you've got to do is click over here on these 3 dots. So like I have right here, blitz, position, and gap. All right. So I'm going to click on these 3 dots and I'm going to move to defensive tendencies. So now when I pull a full tendency report on the defense, blitz, position, and group will be a part of it. So I'll have everything that I need in there, and I can move to or remove from tendency groups as I want to, or however I need to. All right. And then another column that I found was very useful this year was blitz number. And that's what player they send, what individual. So when I start looking at blitz number over here to the right, I see they send number 14. That's their guy that they like to send. All right, 14 and 18 like to blitz a lot. They like to send those two. Well, then you look at number 1, he doesn't blitz very often. 17 comes occasionally. But I can tell my guys, that week of practice, I'm saying, hey, if you see 14 walk up on the edge, he's coming. They like bringing edge pressure, and they like bringing 14. So if he walks up, get your head on a swivel. Let's get an out
call in our pass pro because he's coming off the edge. We've got to get that C gap shored up. And then finally, the last column would be field and boundary. And it's just very simple. But when I start looking at what they like to do, man, they love the boundary. All right, so I know right now, if I'm in trips, let's say I've got trips to the field, 14 is on the boundary side, and he's walked up, I know he's coming. Even if he's not walked up, he's probably coming just statistically because they like to come from the boundary, they like to send 14, and they like to blitz out of trips. All right, so my guys will say, hey, he's coming, and they know because of what we've told them in practice all week based off these numbers. And again, like Coach Evans said, I'm not going to print this stuff off and give it to my players. I'm not going to tell my quarterback, hey, you need to go study all this. I want them to know just the bare minimum of what they need to know, really. And get that put in that whole week of practice and say, look, you know who's coming, where they're coming from, just off of what we've told them. He doesn't have to know statistics or tendencies or any of those things. So see if there's anything that I missed in particular. I'm not going to go through and do all the reports and everything just like Coach Evans did, but that just from a little bit of an offensive standpoint, that's kind of how we use it. Let me see. I'm going to pull back over here.
Coach, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them for you. Anything that we do. I don't want to repeat too much of what Coach Evans has already done because I don't want to waste your time. But if there's any questions you have for what we've done with it, I'll be more than glad to answer. All right. Well, if you don't have anything else, check Twitter. We'll have everything up on YouTube. Hopefully tomorrow. We'll have the link out. Go and subscribe to the YouTube page. It's new, but we're gonna try to put some stuff on it fairly frequently, at least before the season starts. Once we get in season, who knows how that'll work out. But I think this is very productive, and I hope to do it again soon.